The sun was bright over the quiet Georgia neighborhood. A white suburban house sat on the corner, its porch draped with pink balloons and silver streamers. Laughter and soft music floated through the air. Inside, women gathered around a table stacked with gifts, sipping from pastel cups and taking turns guessing baby names. Camille, glowing in a peach dress, stood in the center of it all. Her belly was round, her smile wide, but not quite real. She posed for photos beside a welcome baby sign. Her husband Marcus stood off to the side, smiling just enough, but checking his phone every few minutes. Everything looked perfect, but something was missing, or rather someone. Angela, Camille's younger sister, hadn't been seen in over a year. Some guests whispered about it. They had a falling out, someone said. Angela's always been the dramatic one. Another nodded. Didn't she try to come between Camille and Marcus? Eyes rolled. The gossip danced in the air like glitter. Outside, a black sedan pulled into the driveway. No one expected it. The music didn't stop, but the mood shifted like a cold wind. Through the window, someone caught a glimpse. Angela stepped out slowly. Tall, sharp, beautiful, but her face was calm, unreadable. She wore a simple black dress and held one thing in her hand, a white envelope. The front door was open. She didn't knock. Gasps followed as she stepped inside. Conversations froze. Camille, mid-laugh, locked eyes with her sister. Her breath caught. Her smile dropped. Angela didn't look at anyone else. She walked slowly, straight toward Camille, ignoring the tension curling around the room like smoke. Some guests moved aside. Others just stared. Camille's hand reached for her belly, protective. Her lips parted, but no words came. Angela stood in front of her. No anger. No apology. She held out the envelope. Softly, almost gently, she leaned in and whispered, "You should know the truth before you bring a child into this world." Then she turned around and walked out. Silence followed. Only the baby mobile above the gift table spun slowly, playing a lullaby no one could hear over the sound of their own thoughts. And then, everything changed. Angela was always the strong one. That's what people said, strong, sharp, sometimes too much. She worked in finance, lived alone in a small but modern apartment in the city, and had a reputation for being driven. She was the type to ask tough questions, to walk away when things weren't right. But underneath that, she had a quiet heart, one that had been bruised more times than she let on. Camille, on the other hand, was soft, gentle, warm, the kind of person who baked cookies for neighbors and remembered birthdays. People loved her. Their mother adored her. Growing up, Camille was the golden child. Angela was the one who talked back, the one who always made things harder than they needed to be. If Camille got an A, it was framed on the wall. If Angela got an A, the question was, why not an A+? They weren't always this distant. As little girls, they shared a room. Camille used to braid Angela's hair at night, whispering secrets under the covers. But things changed as they got older. Their mother passed away when Angela was 25. Camille was 28 and already married to Marcus, the man everyone called perfect. A lawyer, charming, always dressed like he stepped out of a magazine. Angela never liked him. Something about his smile didn't reach his eyes. Still, she stayed quiet. She tried to be the good sister, the quiet daughter. But resentment grew like cracks under paint, slow, silent, dangerous. Family dinners were filled with tension. Camille talked about her new home, her garden, how Marcus brought her flowers every Friday. Their father nodded proudly. Angela would show up straight from work, exhausted, and listen to them talk like she wasn't even there. Then came the fight. It happened one night after dinner, when everyone was already a little on edge. Camille had seen a message on Marcus's phone, a late-night text from Angela. Just 2 words. "You okay?" That was all it took. Camille accused Angela of trying to come between her and Marcus, of trying to seduce him. The words came out sharp like a knife. "You always wanted what I had. You've always been jealous." Angela stood frozen. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. She tried to explain. The message was harmless. She had seen Marcus drunk outside a bar 2 weeks earlier, looking out of place and lost. She had just reached out, but no one believed her. Not Camille. Not their father. Angela left the house that night and never went back. She didn't return calls, didn't answer texts. She didn't want to argue anymore. She was done. Months passed. Then one day, she opened Instagram and saw Camille's post. A photo of her holding a tiny pink onesie with the words "coming soon." Dozens of comments, hundreds of likes. Everyone saying how perfect her life was. Not a word to Angela. Not even a message. Angela stared at the screen for a long time. Her chest felt tight. It wasn't the baby. It wasn't even the silence. It was the fact that her sister had erased her completely, like she'd never existed. Angela said nothing. She just kept working, kept moving forward, until the phone call. And everything began to change. Angela was at her desk when the call came. It was late. The office was quiet, and the sky outside had already turned dark. Her phone buzzed with a number she didn't recognize. She thought about ignoring it, but something told her to pick up. "Hello," she answered, her voice tired. "Is this Angela Brooks?" A calm male voice asked. "Yes." "Who's this?" "My name is Brian Mercer. I'm a private investigator. I was hired a few months ago to look into someone named Marcus Carter." Angela froze. "Marcus? Camille's husband. I know this sounds strange," the man continued, "but the person who hired me disappeared. Never followed up. I normally wouldn't do this, but I found things, and I believe you deserve to see them." Angela leaned back in her chair. "Why me?" "Because you were right, and no one believed you." She said nothing for a long moment. He continued, "I can send you the file. Emails, photos, witness statements. You might not want to see it all, but you should know the truth." Angela gave him her email. Minutes later, the file arrived. She sat at her kitchen table and opened it slowly. It didn't take long for her hands to start shaking. Marcus had been cheating for years. Hotel receipts, text messages, even photos. But the worst part, he had been having an affair with Kara, Camille's best friend since college. The same Kara who helped plan the wedding, who threw the first baby shower idea around in the group chat years ago. And then there was a doctor's report. Kara had been pregnant, and she'd lost the baby. Angela covered her mouth, reading the rest. There was money. A large payment made from Marcus's account to Kara's. The note on the transfer said, "For your silence." Cold. Final. Angela sat in the dark for hours. Her mind kept flashing back to Camille's face, to her smile, to how hard she always tried to make everything look perfect. Camille didn't know. She couldn't have. Angela wanted to scream. She wanted to throw her phone. She wanted to go to Camille's house that second and show her everything. But she didn't. She just sat there, because the truth hurt, and sharing it would hurt even more. Would Camille even believe her? After everything? After last year? Angela didn't know, but she couldn't stay silent. Not again. Not with a baby on the way. The next morning, she printed everything. She sat down and wrote a short letter. She didn't know what to say at first. She kept it simple. "You deserve to know the truth before you bring a child into this world." She signed it, put it in an envelope with the file, sealed it, and got in her car. She didn't know what she expected when she pulled up to the baby shower. She hadn't been invited. She didn't want to fight. She just wanted to do the right thing. So she stepped out, dressed in black, holding the envelope, and she walked toward the door. Camille waited until the last guest had left. The house was quiet now. Wrapping paper and half-eaten cupcakes were scattered across the table. The pink balloons floated gently, some already drooping. Marcus was upstairs, lying on the bed, scrolling through his phone like nothing had happened. Camille held the envelope in her hands. Her fingers shook as she opened it. First, the letter. Only one line. "You deserve to know the truth before you bring a child into this world." No name. But she didn't need one. She reached into the envelope and pulled out the rest. Photos, screenshots, receipts. Her breath caught in her throat. Her eyes moved quickly, then slowly, then not at all. She saw Marcus's name. She saw Kara's name. She saw everything. For a long time, she didn't cry. She just sat there, staring, as the truth crashed over her like a wave. Later that night, she walked up the stairs quietly. Marcus looked up from his phone when she entered the room. "Hey," he said. "That was a nice shower, right?" She didn't answer. She tossed the photos onto the bed. His smile disappeared. "What is this?" he asked, already knowing. "You tell me," she said, her voice shaking. He picked up the pages, flipping through them quickly, then slower. "That's not what it looks like," he said. She crossed her arms. "Then what is it?" He stood up, angry now. "Where did you get this? Is this from Angela? She's been trying to ruin us for years." "Don't," Camille whispered. "Don't blame her." He paused. Then he sat down. For a few seconds, there was silence. Then finally he spoke. "It wasn't supposed to happen. I was drunk. It was just one time at first. Then, I don't know. Kara and we were going through things. It didn't mean anything." Camille felt like she was falling. "She was my best friend," she said, tears starting to rise. "You let me blame Angela. You let me push her away." "I didn't tell you because I didn't want to lose you," Marcus said. "I didn't want to ruin what we had." "You already did," she whispered. Later, when he had fallen asleep on the couch downstairs, Camille sat on the edge of her bed. Her hand rested on her belly. She remembered that night, a year ago, when everything broke apart. Angela standing in the middle of their father's living room, eyes wide, voice cracking. Camille yelling at her, accusing her, shaming her. Angela crying, saying, "Please, Camille, I would never do that. I just wanted to help." And Camille turning away. Now it all came back. The guilt hit her harder than Marcus's betrayal. She had lost her sister. Not because Angela was wrong, but because Camille refused to believe her. She had chosen the lie. And now, the truth was too heavy to carry. The next day, she called Angela. She didn't know if her sister would pick up, but she did. Camille didn't speak at first. Her breath came out as a shaky sob. Angela didn't say anything either. She just listened. Finally, Camille said, "Can we meet?" They met at their late mother's house. It had been empty for years, but still stood the same. The porch creaked under their steps. The windows were dusty. The yard was overgrown. Camille sat on the old porch swing. Angela leaned against the railing, arms crossed, guarded. "I don't know where to start," Camille said softly. Angela looked away. "You don't have to say anything." Camille shook her head. "I do." She looked up at her sister, eyes filled with pain. "I hated you," she said, "because I thought you had everything I didn't. You were strong, smart. You didn't care what anyone thought. Mom always said I was the good one, but I was always scared. I envied you." Angela didn't move. "I blamed you because it was easier," Camille said. "I couldn't face the truth. About Marcus. About myself." Angela's voice came low and slow. "I never wanted to be better than you," she said. "I just wanted a sister. You wanted a version of me that didn't exist." Camille wiped her face with her sleeve. "I'm sorry." Angela looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in years. "I'm not here to be right," she said. "I'm here because you needed to know. And because, even after everything, I still care." Camille reached out slowly, unsure, and Angela took her hand. For the first time in a long time, they sat together. Not as enemies, not as rivals, just as two broken women trying to heal. The silence between them wasn't cold anymore. It was a beginning. Camille stood in front of Kara's house, her hands clenched into fists. The sun was just starting to set, casting a soft orange glow over the quiet street. She hadn't called first. She didn't want to. She needed the truth, straight from the source. She rang the doorbell. A few seconds later, Kara opened the door. Her face went pale when she saw Camille. "Camille," Kara said, voice small. "I need to talk to you," Camille said firmly. Kara hesitated, then stepped aside. Inside, the house smelled like candles and lavender. Too calm for what had happened here. Camille sat on the edge of the couch. Kara stood across from her, arms folded tightly over her chest. "You and Marcus," Camille said. "It's true, isn't it?" Kara looked away, her eyes filling with tears. "Yes." Camille felt her heart drop, even though she already knew. "Why?" she whispered. "You were my best friend." Kara sat down. "It just happened. We got close. We were both lonely. I didn't mean for it to go that far." "And the baby?" Camille asked. Kara nodded slowly. "It was his." Camille's throat tightened. She could barely breathe. "And the money?" "I didn't ask for it," Kara said quickly. "Someone showed up, gave me an envelope, said it was for my silence, said it was from your family. I thought it was Marcus, but he never said anything." Camille stared at her. "You thought it was Marcus?" Kara looked confused. "Wasn't it?" Camille left without another word. She drove straight to her father's house. He opened the door in his robe, surprised to see her. "Camille? Everything okay?" She held up the envelope from the file, the one with the payment. "Did you send this to Kara?" she asked, her voice cold and shaking. Her father blinked, then sighed. "I did," he admitted. Camille stared at him, stunned. "Why?" He looked tired. "Because I knew you wouldn't handle the truth. You were pregnant, already under so much stress. I just wanted to keep your life peaceful." "You didn't believe Angela," Camille said, almost to herself. "I didn't want to," he said. "She was always the wild one, the angry one. I thought, maybe she misunderstood." Camille's jaw tightened. "You protected Marcus. You let me hate my sister. You paid off my best friend to hide the truth, just so things looked perfect." He didn't answer. Camille stepped back, like the floor under her had cracked open. "My whole life," she said, voice breaking. "Everything's been a lie." That night, she went home, packed a bag, and told Marcus she was leaving. He begged. He cried. She didn't. As she drove away, she called Angela. Angela picked up after the first ring. Camille's voice shook as she spoke. "You weren't the liar," she said. "You were the only one telling the truth." Angela didn't say anything for a moment. Then she said, "Come over." Camille drove straight to their mother's old house. Angela was already on the porch, waiting. They didn't say much at first. Camille sat next to her, wrapped in a blanket Angela handed her. The night was quiet except for the sound of crickets and the wind in the trees. "I feel like I don't know who I am anymore," Camille whispered. Angela nodded. "I know the feeling. I spent so long trying to keep things perfect," Camille said. "I ignored the cracks, and now it's all broken." Angela looked at her. "Sometimes things have to break before they can heal." Camille wiped her tears away and gave a soft smile. They sat together, just two sisters under the night sky. No lies, no pretending, just real, and finally together. Camille sat in the quiet of her living room, holding a cup of tea. The house felt different now. It was hers, just hers. The baby's crib was set up in the corner. Little clothes were folded neatly in drawers. There were no more lies, no more pretending. She had filed for divorce. It was painful, but she felt lighter. Marcus tried calling. He even showed up once. She didn't answer the phone. She didn't open the door. She was done. Angela came over often. Not to fix anything, just to be with her. They would sit on the couch and talk. Some days they said nothing. Some days they laughed about old memories. Other days they cried. One morning they went for coffee. They sat outside, sunlight on their faces. I still feel angry sometimes, Camille said. That's okay, Angela said. Healing isn't clean. It's messy. Camille smiled. I like messy better than fake. They both laughed. They started going to therapy, together and alone. They learned how their past had shaped them, how their mother's voice still lived in their heads, always comparing, always pushing. Angela, for the first time, felt heard. She didn't have to prove herself anymore. Camille, for the first time, stopped apologizing for needing love. One afternoon, Angela went to the cemetery alone. She stood in front of their mother's grave, hands in her pockets. You raised us to compete, she said softly. We almost destroyed each other because of it, but not anymore. She placed a small flower on the grave and turned to leave. No anger, no guilt, just peace. Back at Camille's house, they started painting the baby's room together. Soft yellow walls. Sunshine, not secrets. Camille put her hand on her belly and felt the baby kick. Angela smiled. Strong already. Camille looked at her. Like her aunt. Angela laughed. Let's hope she gets your patience. Let's hope she gets both of us, Camille said. For the first time in years, the air between them was light. No weight, no blame. Just two sisters healing together. The sun was shining gently over Camille's backyard. Pink and white ribbons fluttered in the breeze. A small table held cupcakes, candles, and a few simple gifts. It wasn't a big crowd this time, just close friends, a couple of neighbors, and Angela. Angela had helped set everything up. She tied balloons to chairs, made lemonade, and arranged the flowers. She looked at Camille and smiled. Camille smiled back. No tension, just warmth. Guests started to arrive. Hugs, laughter, soft music playing in the background. Camille wore a light pink dress, her baby bump round and glowing. Angela stayed close, making sure she had everything she needed. Later, as everyone settled with drinks and snacks, Camille stood up. She held Angela's hand. I just want to say something, Camille said, her voice soft but steady. This past year has taught me a lot. About truth, love, and forgiveness. She looked around at the people who had come. Family isn't about who shows up when things are perfect, she continued. It's who walks in when the world falls apart. She squeezed Angela's hand. Angela walked in when everything was falling apart. And because of that, I'm still standing. Angela's eyes filled with tears. She didn't speak, but she didn't need to. They hugged tightly. At that moment, Camille felt the baby kick. She laughed through her tears and placed Angela's hand on her belly. She knows her aunt is here, Camille whispered. The guests clapped gently. The sun dipped lower in the sky, painting everything in gold. The two sisters stood side by side, surrounded by peace, not pain. No more lies, only love. Hey besties, thanks for watching till the end. If you enjoyed the story, please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more emotional, drama-filled stories. Your support means everything. Can't wait to see you in the next one. Until then, take care and keep coming back for more. Bye.